All right. So welcome everyone. I'm excited about this live coaching call tonight. And I asked Christy if she wouldn't mind popping on her video here, because I'm going to kind of take a different twist or approach to our initial start of this call tonight, because I think it is so important that you hear from others that are using the products, following the protocol, having success, hearing maybe their story rather than just always hearing from me. So Christy, I'm gonna have you jump on here and just share with them. I have a couple questions I'm going to ask you. So first of all, Christy, prior to the protocol, what were some of the things that you were struggling with? Where did you feel that you were lacking in your personal health, your metabolic health? What were things that you were there were issues for you were struggling with?
Yeah, I felt like I was being ruled by food, that it was kind of like my God. And I just was tired of constantly being hungry, walk away from a meal, and 1 hour later, desiring to eat again. And so once I started, I was satiated and I wasn't constantly hungry. Really, I wasn't even thinking about food, which was strange for my body. And then my sleep, I noticed, was so much better. And then I was able to, the scale was beginning to move. So I knew I was becoming more insulin sensitive. I had had insulin resistance, since my late 20s, and I'm 53 now. So I've been on the program since June 24th. I'm down 32 pounds, one full size in undergarment, clothing, jeans, and even in my shoes are fitting better. They're not tight on my feet. So, overall, and the energy that I have, like, I am excited to clean, and I have not been happy to clean in a long time. I really haven't cared if things were clean. And so just having a want to again and feeling better about myself and having mental clarity. It's just been a game changer for me. It's been a real blessing.
Okay. So you mentioned today when we were talking, okay, so what do you do for work? What do you do?
I'm a hairdresser, so I
Okay.
stand on my feet between 8 to 10 hours a day, and I'm not having the issues with standing long periods of time where it was exhausting and I could barely get home. And I would just have to crash once I got home. And now I have energy to go do stuff after I've worked. So that's great.
Okay, awesome. So if I hear you correctly, when you were saying before and how you were, is basically food kind of controlled you, right?
Absolutely. And now I
And
feel
by
like
being
I've
on this,
gained my life back.
yeah, and being on the protocol, you've taken that power back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so how long have you been on the system?
Just over 4 months.
Okay.
November 24th will be 5 months completed.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can remember back, what were some of the first things that you felt like your first 1 to 2 weeks into the system? And then when did you start seeing some of the weight loss come off?
Okay. I could tell energy wise almost immediately. And then not having all the carbohydrates that I had been eating during the day, not having those, I had energy because I wasn't constantly up and down. And so within the first 2 weeks, my weight began to budge. And by the end of week 4, I was down 13 pounds. So everything was fitting better and I was feeling better. And I'm like, I just kept hearing you say, just give me 12 weeks. And I thought, hey, in 12 weeks, I'll be bigger if I don't do something. So I need to do something. And so I was grateful to run across your reel.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad you did as well. So, because look what you've accomplished here in just 4 months. So also too, tell me about birthday parties and celebrations. Do you feel deprived? How does this compare to other things you've done before?
Okay, if I know I'm going to have dessert, I do want to have it right after my meal. But if there is a span of time, say, I'm waiting on people to get there to have birthday cake. I had my birthday and I had a nephew's birthday. So I just took a balance before I had the birthday cake. So it was safe for me to do so. And I didn't have any regrets and I didn't have to feel guilty because I had the protection in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. The word protection. That's great.
Mhm.
So, what were some of the things in addition to that? I had a thought right on the tip of my tongue, and now I left that because it was something else that you had mentioned. Kind of your oh man, Christy, help me out here. Have anything else you want to share while I'm thinking of what the question I was going to ask you?
Mm.
So you mentioned your sleep is improved.
Yeah, it's improved. I'm not, I was constantly thirsty. I wasn't hydrated enough before this. And I knew taking the fiber I would need to do, have plenty of water in my body. And I weighed a lot. I weighed 291 pounds to start with. So half of my body weight was more than a gallon. So I just started out with like half a gallon, worked up to like 96 ounces. And then within a month, I was able to get up to the gallon. And so it took me a little while to build, because I didn't want to have to continually be getting up during the night to go to the restroom. So getting my water in earlier in the day and phasing it out in the evening where I'm not getting up. But the water has helped to satiate me as well. As long as I'm hydrated, I'm not really thinking about the food.
Right. And is this a system based upon what you've done in the past? Is this going to be something that you could see yourself sustaining and maintaining and being on indefinitely?
This is the first time I've ever felt like I actually could reach the weight that I was 30 years ago. And I think I had told you that I had, had such a large number of weight that I needed to lose that I broke it up into phases. And when I hit phase 1 that I had set for myself, I was just, rejoicing that I could do it. In the past with other programs, I would do good for about 2 weeks, see a little bit of measurable results, and then I'd start rewarding myself with food. I know it's stupid, but this has helped me to break that cycle. I'm able, when I hit that 2-week mark and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not deprived. I feel good. So I can just keep going. Yeah. And I haven't had any of those moments where it's like, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is just too hard. It's just too difficult. It's really not. It's a decision, that you make. I'm going to do the plan. I'm going to fast for my 14 to 16 hours. I'm going to have my 2 meals and I'm going to have my products like I need to. And the fasting app has really helped me too. I think I'm on like day 117 day streak now. So
excellent. Now, so
yeah.
the fasting app that Christy's referring to is the Feel Great Fasting app, which helps you stay on track, helps you create that habit of, reminders that are coming in. Have you taken your balance before you eat, etc. So it really also gives you like little rewards and little badges and everything for staying on track and sticking with the intermittent fasting and then taking the 2 products appropriately.
Yes.
So good. Well, Christy, again, with the protocol, is this absolutely, if you will give it time, like Christy did, to work and you use it properly, it will not let you down. But right. I mean, I get calls and comments all day long about, hey, the system's not working for me. I'm struggling here. And it really just takes little slight modifications or troubleshooting 1 or 2 areas to have that completely turned around. I was on a call earlier tonight where someone had mentioned that they decided they weren't really taking the Unimate because they felt they could intermittent fast in the morning. That was no problem, but they took the balance before lunch and dinner. And they weren't losing the weight. Their husband was losing weight. They weren't using it. So when they finally started on the Unimate, because that helps increase the fat burning in the body, and that made a world of difference. So there's just, if you use the protocol like you've done, Christy, correctly, You give it time, you trust the process, it will not let you down. So
Right.
thank you. Thank you for
You're
sharing
welcome.
that.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
Tom Day, are you in a position where you're able to turn on your cam?
Yes, of course, I'm driving on the Beltway right now, but I can talk.
So don't turn on your cam. Maybe you can just through voice, just share with us. Now, how long have you been on the protocol?
A little over 3 weeks right
Okay. And what has it done for you?
now. It's funny. I remember watching my first Zoom with you before I got on the program, and it was like I was literally sitting there, and I was looking down at my belly, and it was rock hard. And I'd actually spoken with my doctor, 3 or 4 months ago, and I said, "Hold on, I don't understand how I'm gaining weight. I'm not changing anything. I'm not eating differently and stuff like that." And he said, "Well, it's got to be this or that. Let's try this, that." Okay, that wasn't working. And when I started looking into the research of the Unimate and the balance, and so for the program with intermittent fasting, the triphasic kind of a thing, it totally made sense. I'd done intermittent fasting before. That's a choice you make. And the thing is that I didn't get the success that I have now. Right now, the success is that even as of today, it's down 14 pounds and 4 notches on my belt. And so I'm at the skinniest notch on my belt right now. But those are just physical kind of things, but I can feel more energy. I just as Christy says, there's a choice, it's a decision that you make. And this isn't where I'm going to stop. I've got a goal in mind. And something called a BMI, body mass index. And it's going to be a stretch, but get it back into a high school kind of a thing. I was kind of impressed with a friend of mine who put on his high school uniform, went to an all boys high school, and we had uniforms, and he showed a picture that he could get back into his high school pants. I went, okay, I got to try that. No, I couldn't do it, but I'm getting there. So that's where I am.
I love it. So Tom, what are some of the things that you really struggled with as far as your health prior? I know you mentioned the hard belly gut, right?
Yes.
What were some, did you struggle with like snacking? Did you struggle with carbohydrate control, late night eating?
Well, it's funny that you say that, Suzanne, because the thing is, just like Christy has said, carbs, yes, we need them. Okay, but we need that kind of a thing, but in moderation, if you will. But if we understand, yes, we need our proteins, we need our, and so forth. So the thing is that if you look at something as not just the ingredients, because more and more people are reading labels now, but also what does the body do with that? If it's just going to store it and you're not going to use it as energy, what's the sense in eating it? So yes, I would love to have a ho-ho or a cupcake or whatever it is, but I understand that's not right for me. But I'm not restricting in the sense that I know, just as Christy says, it doesn't restrict me to have a piece of cake or whatever, but I know that prior to that, I'm going to have to do a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what it's going to do to me. No, do I understand what it's going to do? No, but I know it's doing something to me positively. So no, it's so I don't have a problem with going out and now to eat meat, okay, or to eat a pasta, because I know that this is going to help me along with the Unimate. I do 2 of those a day. That's along with water and so forth. So I love the taste of them. And then the balance, as you say, shake it 4 or 5 times, drink it down right now, let it do its thing later on. So that's how it's helped me. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. So thank you.
I lost my those love handles on the side. To tell you the truth.
Yeah. You're eating those for breakfast now, right?
Pardon me?
You're eating those love handles for breakfast now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it really is. It's a physical, but also it's an emotional kind of success. And as I say, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect to get different results. That's the definition of what? craziness. And I
Craziness.
think we're at a
Absolutely.
point where, but it's not just a physical thing. It is it is an emotional thing. And I enjoy looking into, I mean, I'm very, very vain, I guess it is. You look in the mirror and say, I don't mind getting on the scale now because I know, okay, there's another pound gone.
Yep.
And oh yeah, suck that in a little bit more, you know, where you're going to be.
Great.
That's
Awesome.
where. So I just want to help other people do the same thing because they have to feel good about themselves, and
Yeah.
that's important. A lot of people don't know what that's like, is to have that success, and they go through life saying, "I'm gonna be this way the rest of my life," and I don't want to be that way, and I want to help people that have that same kind of a feeling.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Certainly.
Really do.
Great
So
job, Christy. Great job, Christy.
I love this. All right. So thank you. So you've heard from two of those. And again, if any of you want to share your successes, please do in the chat, and we'll save some time here at the very end if you want to share them verbally. And also, if you're having any struggles, if there's anything that you're struggling with, questions you've got, post them in the chat, or we'll stop a little bit early and we'll give some time for some question and answer. So, but I'm going to jump in here and just kind of share my screen really quick and just kind of jump into to just preface a little bit of what we're talking about here. And really what we're focused on is insulin resistance. And you heard some of the struggles from Christy, from Tom. I mean, I receive messages in my inbox daily, numerous ones, thanking me for lowering their A1C, not me, but of course the products and the protocol, right? For changing their lifestyle, their mood, their confidence, all of the above. But as you look at this, and what we're struggling with today is that we've got to get to the root of the cause of all of this. And really, this started to take effect back probably about 50 years ago when we started removing fiber from our foods. Insulin got out of control, blood sugars got under control, we lost control of our weight and our health. So that's what we're kind of here to talk about tonight. And how do we bring back that control? Like Christy said, getting back the power in your own personal metabolic health. Now, I always share this with people. This is an eye-opener. Because if you can say yes to any of these symptoms or signs and symptoms, you've got to at least one or two, you've got insulin resistance. And there are some very visible symptoms and signs. For instance, the skin pigmentation. If people are starting to get that dark skin pigmentation around their elbows and their folds of their neck, underneath their armpits and stuff, that's a visible sign of insulin resistance. The skin tags. And they're not cosmetic. I mean, these things you can try to remove again and again and again. They're going to keep coming back because you're not getting to the root cause of the problem. You are constantly hungry, and you crave sugar and salt. Not just love sugar and salt, you actually crave them. You are always tired, but especially after meals. You could fall asleep all day long, and then at night when it's time to go to bed, you're wide awake and you can't go to sleep, right? You've got migraine aches and pains, and you have that upper abdominal obesity like Tom was talking about. So right here on this diagram, you'll see that's the visceral fat that surrounds your organs. If you can reach down and you can pinch that fat along your midsection, that's subcutaneous fat, right? That's not going to kill us. That's not detrimental to our health. It's ugly. We don't like it. We're not comfortable in it. Like Tom said, he's got the love handles right. We call it a muffin top if it hangs over our skinny jeans. But the fat that's troublesome for us and even life-threatening is the visceral fat. It's that hard fat. Not even a tummy tuck is going to get rid of the hard visceral fat. Okay, we've got that. We've got to get rid of that. And again, the only way to do that is through intermittent fasting. If you are a man and you've got low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, low muscle tone, those are signs of insulin resistance. As a woman, PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, you have irregular periods. Again, PCOS is the #1 cause of infertility for women today, insulin driven. You have facial hair, back hair, chest hair, places where we shouldn't as women have hair. It's insulin resistant. Androgen levels are too high. You also have adult acne, definite sign of insulin resistance. This is what, again, you've got brain fog, depression, anxiety, direct relation to the gut, brain, irritable bowel syndrome, migrating aches and pains, high blood pressure, high blood sugars, high triglycerides, high cholesterol. I mean, this list goes on and on and on. And these are all related to insulin resistance. Now, of course, when we have any of these symptoms happen, any of these visual signs, right, taking place, we think, oh no, got to go see the doctor. And true, but if these symptoms go unchecked, can lead to almost every other chronic disease. You've got every form of diabetes. You've got cancers. You've got coronary artery disease, high cholesterol, as I mentioned, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, that type 3 diabetes, right? Kidney failure, and so on and so forth. And so again, if you have these chronic diseases, they are lifestyle driven. And in the majority of cases, they are going to be reversed by lifestyle. Now, obviously, if we come across these and, we want to go see a doctor for all of these symptoms, is they're going to throw medication after medication. But the thing is with all of these symptoms, we can handle all of those with one intervention. Okay, all of these symptoms, all of these signs can be addressed with one simple intervention. And that is getting to the root cause, the root driver of all of them. And that is the hormone insulin. Insulin is no longer working as it should in the body. And every one of those chronic diseases and symptoms are manifesting that cause. Insulin's not working. And so everything else goes out of whack. So, and in fact, so that's why we've got 86 million people, adults in the US that are pre-diabetic, right? In fact, 9 out of 10 don't even know that they're pre-diabetic. We've got to create this awareness. And again, we've got one simple intervention, which is getting to the root cause, which is addressing insulin resistance. That's what we're about. This is what this simple fiber fasting protocol is all about. So, and by doing that, we kill the root of that tree, infected tree. We then kill the branches and all of those symptoms. They're gone. Modern medicine has not understood this, or maybe they do and they just don't want to admit it. But the fact is they go with multiple approaches, multiple medications, one to treat cholesterol, one for triglycerides, one for pre-diabetes, one for the high blood pressure, one for insomnia, one for depression, anxiety, right? All of the above, one for your thyroids. Pretty soon you've got a big case of 15 different medications. But if we get to the one root cause, there's one intervention, and we're going to talk about that. Now, I talk a lot, and I forgot my little visual, so I'm going to skip this slide tonight, okay? But we all know that the lack of dietary fiber, all right, in our foods today. About 50 years ago, they decided that they were going to start removing fiber from our diet. They were going to replace the fiber, and they were going to replace it with sugar and make these foods more palatable, make them more affordable, and make them somewhat addicted to us. And so ever since they've been removing the fiber from our foods, we've become sicker. We haven't become healthier. I mean, look at the numbers. That previous slide that I kind of whizzed by, but you see that type 2 diabetes is projected to escalate by over 700% in our young adults, not the aged, the young adults. Okay. So what we've done is we've removed that fiber. We've got more processed foods available to us than ever before. Our chip aisle, bread aisle, even our vegetables and fruits, less fiber. In fact, I had an apple that I was going to show you, and I did last week on the call, that fits within the inside of my palm. That's an apple. That's grown on the tree in the backyard. Today, the apples that we buy in the store, I can barely palm them, right? More sugar, less fiber. Not to mention how many of the juices now are being promoted as healthy, right? Easier. Grab your apple juice first thing in the morning, easier than grabbing an apple. But what we're removing what they're removing is the fiber from our foods. And we know the benefits of fiber. Fiber can reduce cholesterol, it can reduce triglycerides, it fills us up faster, it keeps us fuller longer. So of course the big food companies want to eliminate that from our foods and even our fruits and vegetables. We're going to eat more calories, we're going to take in more starches, more sugar, even though that's an apple, right? Even though it's the broccoli, even though it's a cucumber, even though it's a banana, the size of bananas today. And but that's what we're being fed. So what I want to share with you right here is in the last 50 years, again, our habit of, and there's two things. First of all, the lack of dietary fiber in our foods, but also our habit of eating all the time. We've created a habit for ourselves. We think we need to be eating every 2 hours. I talked to an individual the other day on the phone and they said, yeah, but I've been told I need to eat every 2 hours to keep my metabolism up. And if I'm not eating, my body's eating my muscle. And I'm like, yeah, and how's that working for you? Because it's not, right? I mean, think back, our grandparents, my parents' parents, if my mom came in the door and said, hey, I want a snack, what did her mom say? No, you're going to spoil your dinner. And little did they know that they were actually doing my mom a favor. Now, it started when I was a young child, where I'd come home from school and there'd be fresh bread baking in the oven, right? And I started to have a snack. It started about that time, right? 50 years ago, when we decided that we needed to start eating every 2 hours to keep our energy up and our metabolism up. Now, when we started snacking and eating all the time, and when food makers started to strip fiber out of our food, blood sugar went up like crazy, insulin went up like crazy, and we lost total control of our metabolic health. Would you agree? Oops, sorry, the slide went backwards. All right. So what we need to do is we lost that power, we lost that control. As Christy mentioned, food was controlling her. We are no longer in control. It's time that we return back to a blend of fasting and feeding, enjoying food that we love the food now. It's not about what you're eating, but when you're eating. And we're going to take that control back. That's what we're doing here with this fiber fasting protocol. So I'm going to show, again, this is what this fasting and feeding protocol looks like. There's a period of time during the day that we're fasting, giving our bodies time without sugar in it, so that we can restore that insulin sensitivity. Periods of time that we're eating when our body is burning outside glucose, stores outside glucose for energy. But it is a fasting and feeding protocol. So first of all, this is going to be breakfast, right? Lunch and dinner. And so right now, the easiest thing, what we're going to talk about is skipping through breakfast. And for most people, that's pretty easy, right? Because you've been fasting all night long. And your body, when you wake up in the morning, is in a fasted state. And we're going to intentionally, though, keep that insulin low. We're going to nutritionally increase ketosis in our body by doing so. So we're going to fast through breakfast, right? Give your body about 4 more hours in the fat burning zone, increasing nutritional ketosis in the body, where your body, instead of burning outside food for glucose and sugar and energy, it's pulling the calories, it's pulling the glucose from your stored fat and burning that. It's literally eating your love handles for breakfast. You're not going to be deprived of calories. You're not going to starve to death, because your body, being in a nutritionally ketosis basis, knows that it's going to go to your fat stores for energy and fuel. So just trust it. Your body was built this way. Now, a lot of people try to do this on their own, right? And so then when you're ready to break fast, we're going to break it with fiber. Fiber helps you get fuller sooner, and it keeps you fuller longer. It helps you eat less. So this fiber protocol prior to lunch, prior to dinner, will help you control your caloric intake and eliminate snacking in between your meals, which then keeps glucose and insulin levels lower in the body. so that you can burn fat more efficiently, not only in the morning, but even between your meals and before bedtime. Now, first of all, a lot of people will find that this is very difficult to do. They want to do intermittent fasting. They find it hard to do. They find that their body's not fat adaptive. But I not only, so what we have here with our simple protocol is we have something that's going to make intermittent fasting easier, and not only easier, but it's going to be absolutely free. Okay, we're going to show you how it can be easier, and how with this simple fasting protocol, this system is absolutely free. Because on average, when we skip a meal, we save money. Okay, bottom line, if you skip a meal, you're not spending money for that meal, you're saving money. So whatever you're going to be spending, either at Starbucks or on breakfast, we're going to take that money and we're going to use that to buy the Unimate and these three things. You know, Unimate in the morning and your balance. You're going to put that money towards these items. And what this does is it's going to make it, it will make it easy. It will make it sustainable. As Christy had mentioned, as Tom mentioned, intermittent fasting became easier, became more effective. You don't feel deprived, so that you can do it forever. Now, I've been on this protocol for 30 years. And I get asked all the time, if you're metabolically healthy now, why do you continue to follow the system? Number one, it costs me no money. And number two, I feel incredibly awesome on it. And I want to continue to feel that way. Number three, I love food. All right. And I can tell you right now, if I was not taking balance before my meals, I would overeat. I love food. And I'm like Christy, I want to enjoy that birthday cake. So that's why I continue to live this lifestyle and incorporate it into my life. But if you do it correctly and you understand the process, it is absolutely free. So first thing in the morning, what we're doing is you're going to wake up and you're going to sip on this Unimate. You're going to feel amazing. It's going to curb your hunger right away. It's going to keep your blood sugars and insulin down. In fact, the chlorogenic acid contained in Unimate is a natural insulin sensitizer, similar to metformin. Unimate also is a natural GLP-1 enhancer, which means it will actually help inhibit glucagon. So your body is able to burn fat. It gets you into a deeper ketosis. In fact, Unimate is shown to increase natural ketone production in the body by 80% in the first 2 hours. That's why when you drink Unimate, you feel so amazing. Ketones are the preferred fuel for the brain. That's why if you're looking to prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, ketosis in the body is vital. And so that's the benefits of Unimate. Sip on it. Enjoy it all morning long. You don't guzzle Unimate. You enjoy it. You sip on it. It prevents those cravings, that hunger throughout the morning, and helps your body become more efficient in burning fat for fuel. Then when you're ready to break fast, you're going to mix you up a balance. And this obviously right before your meals, 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to drink balance very, very quickly. You don't mess around with balance, okay? This is a fiber matrix, the blend of the most potent fibers available. And not to mention plant nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, but you don't play around with this fiber. You mix it with 6 to 8 ounces of cold water, you shake it 3 or 4 times, and you down it, all right? It gets into your gut, and it starts to fill you up. You eat less. You get fuller sooner. Plus, it slows down the gastric emptying of that meal, so you stay fuller longer. Then you repeat again before dinner. But by taking this fiber before your meals and eliminating the snacking in between lunch and dinner, and between dinner and before you go to bed, you're going to get additional hours in fat burning. That's what's so great about this, is you're not constantly grazing. You're giving your body more time in that fat burning zone, which again will reverse those symptoms, those signs and symptoms, because you're increasing your insulin sensitivity. Does that make sense? All right. So first of all, number one in the morning, It's so simple. You wake up and you take your Unimate. Number 2, you take your balance before your lunch and dinner, and that's it. Again, we're not really looking at counting your calories, looking at portion control, but obviously, if I tell you you can go eat all the pizza that you want, if you want to go eat the ice cream and cake, that doesn't make sense. That's not sensible. We know what we should be doing. It's just hard to get back to those practices. We should be increasing our protein. We should be eating more healthy fats. That thing 50 years ago when they told us to cut back on the fat that was causing high cholesterol in the body, that's dismissed today. That is not the case. That was from your big food companies wanting to push the sugar, wanting to take the fiber out of our foods so that we become more addictive and we start eating all the time. Think about it. Big food does not want to get their little hands on this packet. Pharmaceutical companies would give their right arm for this packet. But this is a packet that was, again, I've been using for 30 years. The owner of the company will never let this go. We own it. And it's a remarkable system. So that's a simple protocol. Now, as Christy shared with you, I've been on this simple protocol. Christy saw success from that. Tom shared his stories with you. And I get messages like this every single day. Again, story after story. Messages, text messages, emails, before, after, during, pictures. Again, no longer medically diabetic, completely got rid of the belly fat, the visceral fat, no longer hypothyroidism, gone, Hashimoto's gone, all of the above gone. And so again, this is just not my story, but today we have thousands of stories of individuals whose lives have been completely transformed with this simple fiber fasting protocol. Now, before I do this, I want to break right here. Before I jump into the science, if we even need to cover the science really, behind the products, because there's over 12 published clinical studies on these products alone. They're in the physician's prescriber's digital reference, formerly known as the prescriber's digital reference, which has been used for over 70 years by the healthcare providers and healthcare profession to look up prescription medications, alternatives to treating certain diseases. These 2 products are in there, along with 17 of our other products. Have clinicals, as I again mentioned, have been published by the Cleveland Clinic, the University of Sydney, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just do this. I don't see, let me see if I've got any other chats on here really quick. Okay, Regina Garcia, thank you for posting this question. Does this help with thyroid issues? Absolutely. So if part of that insulin resistance is what happens with the thyroid, again, is if our body becomes insulin resistant, our body starts storing more fat. And when it stores more fat, it then leads to us becoming hungry. It leads to hypothyroidism. It leads to fat gain. They are all connected, all the hormones in our body. So not only does it help with thyroid issues, hypo or hyperthyroidism, but it can also help with all other hormones, both male and female, with getting those all back in check. And that's where we really look at, like, even our metabolic health, irritable bowel syndrome, our gut health, inflammation in the body. All of that is connected with insulin no longer working in our body. Our body just is overcompensated with sugar and restriction, and we've just got to restore it and return it. And like I said, you know, this is one intervention: the fiber, the fasting and feeding, or fiber and fasting protocol. That's what we're talking about here. Adding fiber back into our diet. We don't get enough fiber. We can never get enough fiber, or overdo the fiber. And number 2, giving our bodies longer time without glucose in it by intermittent fasting. Any other questions? Let's see. Is there a benefit of using Unimate twice a day? Is one Unimate product more beneficial than another? Great question. There is a benefit. And let me just, I'm going to address this, and I think it's Shannon and Brian, it's you that are asking this.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
beautiful. So I'm going to answer this by sharing my screen about the Unimate and the science behind it. First of all, the question is definitely yes. There's no reason you couldn't use more than one Unimate a day. And understanding the benefits of Unimate is exactly why you might want to use it more than once a day. Some people find it's just fine with one. Some, like myself, I love to Unimate on a daily basis. And then the other question was, we get back to that. Oh, whoops. Okay, stop share. Let me get back to that. And the product more benefit. Okay. So what I think what Shannon's asking is, you'll look when you go into your back office or your member office with Unicity, you'll see that there is the Unimate. And are you referring to Unimate Fuel?
More like, you know how there's the lemon ginger. It's been a while since I used
Okay.
it. I'm just getting ready to start again. And then there's just the lemon.
Right.
There was different flavors like, and I didn't know if one helps more burn fat or what the benefits are.
Okay, beautiful. Great question. No, the flavor, I mean, ginger, we know ginger, there's other benefits for ginger in our body. So that's why that's been enhanced with ginger. But as far as the chlorogenic value, the theobromine, the fat burning and everything, as far as the Unimate itself, they are equal. So there is one, if you go into your Unicity back office, you'll see that there is a Unimate Fuel. Now that one contains MCT oil. I do not suggest taking that in the morning because there is calories and there is the healthy fats that are going to break the fast. But if you were trying to come off of coffee with cream and sugar and stuff like that, try to wean yourself off maybe after a lunch or after a dinner, you could add Unimate Fuel in, but you definitely want to do that at mealtime when you have balance in your system. So, but let me just, I'm going to jump on here and just simply start to share the benefits of the Unimate to help understand why it might be beneficial. So Unimate, one of the key components of this yerba mate extract, and I'm very adamant when I say extract from yerba mate, because yerba mate has been consumed for thousands of years in Argentina. It has proven to be very effective for improving metabolic health. It actually contains all of the necessary nutrients to sustain life. It's a plant. What we've done as a company, though, is, and Unicity has, and I say we because I was on corporate with them for 7 years, so I kind of feel like that's we, right? But Unimate has gone through a 5-step purification. So we've actually enhanced the purification, extracted any of the toxins, pesticides from the plant, air, and soil, and created more of a potent yerba mate per se, meaning definitely higher in chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is a natural insulin sensitizer. It also, again, as I mentioned earlier, increases natural GLP-1 production in the body. So all of these new weight loss injectables, which are, going skyrocket through the roof and everyone's jumping on them, now realizing that adverse side effects that are involved in those, this does what that does naturally and in a healthy way for the body. It's increasing your natural ketone production. Like I said, the natural preferred fuel that your brain loves and will actually is shown to reduce the dementia and the effects of Alzheimer's. But the chlorogenic acid in Unimate is 10 times the chlorogenic acid than a cup of coffee. Has 370 times more chlorogenic acid than other yerba mates on the market. So not all yerba mates are created equal. They're all not the same. And I love that we've got this lemon and lemon ginger flavor, because you also notice the citrus mint, which was very, very bitter. Yerba mate is very bitter. But the flavor, choose your flavor. Choose what you love. But just like what it does in the morning, it will actually help you stay satiated. It will reduce your hunger. It will cut your cravings. It helps to promote that ketone production. So why I take more than one Unimate is that that's what's happening for me in the afternoon as well. It's enhancing those 4 to 5 hours between lunch and dinner to help my body be more efficient at burning more stored fat for metabolic fuel, keeping my brain fog gone, my energy, my focus up. So that's why those are the benefits, and that's why I choose to have 2 Unimate a day, just because I feel twice as good. And it's doing that again for my body during the afternoon. And so the theobromine too is contained in dark chocolate. It basically helps to satiate, right? And the antioxidants, an immune booster. So coming into the holidays like we are now, and as I mentioned in the email that went out, is definitely stay on top of these products. Unimate, the antioxidant component of this, will increase your immune system to avoid the colds and the symptoms that you're going to be exposed to. Not to mention that by controlling our glucose and insulin, controlling the sugar intake, you're not going to be susceptible to those colds. When our immune system gets shot, and it's usually because of our increased sugar intake over the holidays, that's when we get sick. That's what's causing us to become ill. So hopefully, Shannon, that answered your question.
Sorry, couldn't get to click on. Yes, that did. That was helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. And as I mentioned too, third-party validation, the insulin sensitizer. Also, a lot of people will comment that they're frequently in the bathroom more, especially in the mornings. When your insulin becomes normalized and you become more insulin sensitive, by reducing the insulin in the body, your body is releasing a lot of that stored water too. That's why inflammation goes down. That's a good thing. So embrace that. So the science behind balance, why this is not like any other fiber, why I've chosen this fiber over any other fiber, even when I eat my fruits and vegetables, is this contains 7 different types of soluble and insoluble fibers. And you need that diversity of fibers for proper gut health, proper gut nutrition, for your colon, for your intestines, for digestion, all of the above. And even if you are taking a prebiotic, if you are not feeding that prebiotic, your gut, the appropriate nutrients, the food that prebiotic or probiotic needs, let me reverse that. If you're not feeding those probiotics, so many people today are rushing out and getting probiotics, right? I got to have probiotics for my gut. But those probiotics feed on prebiotics. And if you're not getting prebiotics into your gut and feeding your gut, and that's fiber, prebiotics come from fiber, a matrix of fibers. And if you're not getting that correct fiber matrix into your gut, those probiotics are going to do nothing for you. So that's why with balance, you're getting that matrix of fiber that both delivers pre and the probiotics, which literally enhance and improve your gut microbiome, reducing bloating, reducing inflammation in the gut, where your digestion, elimination, everything is dramatically improved. The vitamin and mineral matrix in here, these are vitamins that are feeding your body, vitamin E, the B vitamins in the balance. And then, of course, certain plant nutrients that are addressing cholesterol and triglycerides. So, all right. So let's see. Any other questions that you've got? And you can just unmute and ask the questions live.
How do we know if we have visceral fat?
Nancy, good question. So again, like I mentioned, the subcutaneous fat is that fat you can pinch. If you look in the mirror and right underneath your rib cage and it's hard and it's firm and it kind of bulges, that's a really good indication you've got visceral fat. Now, if you have any of those symptoms I described, first off, even though you don't have a protruding belly, most likely you've got internal visceral fat. It's just not grown big enough to protrude yet. Does that make sense? Because the Asian culture, if you look at most Asians that actually live in Asia, those that have come to the US and have been introduced to our westernized culture, right, of the habit of eating every 2 hours, and also our American diet, right? They're usually obese, but Asians are so high in in fat content internally with their visceral fat because they have a higher fat composition to their body size. Their bellies aren't protruding, but their internal organs inside, that fat's already happening. So if you've got those symptoms happening, you are insulin resistant. You do have visceral fat, and you've got to get rid of that. So hopefully that answered that, Nancy.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just have some of that I can pinch really easy.
Yeah. And the easy stuff, that will come off too. You'll lose the inches. But a lot of that too, and that's why it's so funny with guys, I'll have them measure and they will measure their, like around their belt. But what I really want is right around that hard midsection, right? That hard belly fat. That's where I really want to get to and see that completely eliminated. So more questions. Any other questions or thoughts? This is your time to get those answered. Okay. I'm going to, just in closing here, I want to just share a couple things with you really, really quick. Hopefully you can see this. Can you see that before and after? Ooh, right there. Okay. That is the visceral fat. Okay. Poor Tony, he can't pinch anything. It's all visceral fat. That's why his triglycerides are over 900. That's why his LDL was completely unmeasurable. He had cholesterol over 307. His risk ratio for a heart attack was at 10.6, which means absolutely, yeah, that could happen to you any day. And in 12 weeks, he went from this to this using this simple protocol. In fact, I'm gonna take this off, unblur my background so that you can really see that. Can you see it? I've got to get Tony's pictures up here. So that's what this protocol does. That's the visceral fat. You can look right here if you want to take a look at Heather. Can you see this hard rightness right here? It's not here, it's this. That's visceral fat. Okay, that's the hard fat. So these are testimonials after testimonials, again, as I've transferred people's health for the last 30 years. It's just remarkable. The benefits, the advantages, the difference that they're feeling in their lifestyles. So, and the changes that this is making. In fact, as we've been able to spend more time on social media and getting the word out and educating people on this thing is going to become a household name. This packet, you're going to go to restaurants, you're going to start hearing people flick this around before every single meal. And just because it's a simple protocol, it's sustainable, and it absolutely works. So again, if you know next week's call, this call we do every single Wednesday night, take advantage of inviting friends, family that you know that are struggling with their metabolic health. There are friends of mine that I wish I would have been more adamant with in making sure that they had gotten on one of these calls 10 years ago with me and started this simple protocol, because they'd still be alive today. That's the thing, is we are changing lives. We want to go save people. And all of you know family members that are struggling, family members that are so tired of being sick and tired, and they don't have answers. The medication's not doing it for them. They're not seeing results. They're not, again, the one simple solution, fiber and fasting, right? We've got it. We'll get to the root cause of this. And then of course the Unimate, which is just a remarkable product, helping people feel absolutely amazing. So invite them to that call. And for those of you, I mean, we're doing this in over 60 countries, because this epidemic, this insulin resistance, is not exclusive only to the US. I've got people in over 60 countries that are sharing this with others. If you want to get on this, if you want to help us expose more people to this, give me a call, let me know, because we need more people talking about this. We need more people sharing this with others to get the word out. But so I'm just glad that you are here tonight with us, all of you. So thank you. Now,
Suzanne,
questions. Sue, yes.
yes, hi.
Hi.
Just a quick question. When you talk about the balance in Unimate having vitamins in it,
Mhm.
so does that mean that we don't take vitamins on a normal, like we don't take a one a day, we don't take omega-3, we don't take a probiotic, it's all in there, or do we still take our vitamins?
I would still suggest you can absolutely still take your vitamins. What I suggest to anyone is take a look at what you're currently using. Now, omega-3, fatty acid fish oils, definitely you want to stay on top of those. Some of your magnesium, if you're taking a bone fortify or a vitamin D or something like that supplement, yes, absolutely stay on top of those. And even with Unicity, we have additional products like that. So if you love, Balance Unimate, you may want to take a look at those as well. But a typical one a day vitamin, I would seriously look at what that has and what your balance and Unimate, especially what your balance contains, and then see if you feel that you still need that. But those specialized, especially for women and men's health, I would definitely stay on top of those.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. I appreciate the question. So, any other questions or thoughts? All right. Well, everyone, thank you for being on here. Christy, Tom, thank you for jumping on and being willing to share your story and your successes. And I look forward to more of you sharing that. And please know that you are welcome to get in touch with me at any time. If you want some personalized coaching, troubleshooting, again, if you're struggling with this, it's usually a tweak. It's making sure that you're taking balance consistently before every meal. And even like when I get a call from the family and, hey, we're having pizza tonight, right? Sunday, for instance, we're going to have birthday celebration. And I know we're going to be eating Mexican pizza, which is not good. Now, I don't eat that. In fact, I probably eat that once a year because it's carbs, and more carbs, right? So for me personally, I'm going to take 2 of these before I eat that Mexican pizza. I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm going to take 2 of this. Now, if you're starting this fairly new, I wouldn't suggest taking 2 Balance before your meal. You want to start slowly. You want to get acclimated to the fiber. Once you're on the fiber system, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, right? I can handle 2 packets of Balance before a meal. But just know that you cannot, you can't say, oh, can I have more than just the 2 packets? If you find that you sit down at a restaurant and you take a Balance thinking you're going to order and get served right away, and for whatever reason, change of new management or whatever, that dinner doesn't come out for an hour later, guess what? I'm going to grab another Balance and I'm going to have it before I eat, because after about that 30-minute window, Balance is starting to lose its effectiveness in being able to absorb carbohydrates and fats from that food. Does that make sense? And so don't fear the Balance. That's why when you get this, go grab the Balance. Give you handfuls in the car, in your bag, at the office, wherever. You never need to be caught without Balance. Unimate is easier for people to remember because it's right there in the morning before they leave the house. So, but thank you everyone for being on this call tonight. Hopefully you got all your questions answered, and next week, same time. And again, please invite someone to join you. Let's go help them change their metabolic health and save a life. So thank you everyone. Good night and be well.
Thank you.